Brazil's Costa Verde is an incredible ribbon of coastline between Rio de Janeiro and São Paulo. Here, the emerald jungles of the Serra do Mar plunge into the Atlantic in spectacular fashion, but nowhere more so than at Ilha Grande Bay. Just a 2-hour bus ride from the non-stop energy of Rio, Ilha Grande Bay offers rhythms that are in total tune with nature. Once here, you'll find yourself caring less about finding the perfect Wi-Fi signal and more about connections of a deeper kind. There are endless ways to lose yourself here. In the worn, cobbled streets of colonial towns, in the cicada hum of pristine Atlantic forests, in the sacred hush of churches, and in the lazy tunes which drift from the noonday shade of cafes and bars. There are endless lessons to be found here too. In the local dishes which have been perfected by generations of cooks, in the patient hands of fishermen who ply the endless art of net mending, in the faces of the people who seek not to bend nature, but are content to be shaped by it. 100 miles to the southwest of Rio is the historic port town of Angra dos Reis. Once, slave ships unloaded human cargoes bound for the vast coffee plantations of the interior. Today, the port is a popular escape for Rio's harried locals. Life is simple here, with each day set by the rhythms of the sea. Pay a visit to the Culture House and learn about the artists and poets who were inspired by the daily theater of this port and its mountainous backdrop. Once you've explored the town, there are endless beaches to enjoy. Some, like Praia do Bonfim, are just a stroll from the town square and are great spots to cool off on hot afternoons. Others, like Praia do Camurim, Equaçan, Biscaya, are just a short bus ride away and are perfect places to disappear for a few days or longer. Offshore, over 350 islands are calling. Many are the exclusive domains of the rich and famous, but others, like Jipoia Island, are open to all. Climb aboard a ferry boat or set sail on a schooner to the bay's undisputed jewel, Ilha Grande. For much of the last century, this incredible island was home to Brazil's Alcatraz. What was once purgatory for the country's most notorious felons is now heaven for nature lovers. The island's main town is Vila do Abrão. Until 1994, this was the home of prison guards and their families. Today, this tiny hamlet is filled with ecotourism guides, happy to help you discover one of the world's richest ecosystems. There are no cars or roads here, only boats and walking trails connecting the island's 100 beaches. From Vila do Abrão, take a smaller boat or the 3-hour walk to Praia Lopes Menges. Here, pirates once spent their days scouring the horizon for gold-laden Portuguese ships sailing from mainland Paraty back to their home ports. Throughout the 17th and 18th centuries, the port of Paraty was the end of the legendary Gold Road, a mountainous route used to transport hundreds of tons of gold from the mines of Minas Gerais to far-off coffers in Portugal. Explore the crumbling fort whose cannon defended the port from gold-hungry buccaneers. and the Church of Our Lady of the Remedies, which, according to legend, was built from pirate treasure found in the sands of nearby Praia Trindade. Climb to the top floor of the Casa de Cultura, where the windows frame the most beautiful artwork of all, the city itself. Parachi, too, has been blessed by beautiful beaches, such as Sleepy Pontao to the north, and hideaways like Praia do Rancho and Meio to the south. The gold prospectors and pirates of old have long gone, but today, a new kind of treasure seeker has arrived. They find the riches in nature, in the warmth of the people, in the afternoon light which dances upon the water, and in the evening lamps which bathe the streets in gold. For those seeking a different kind of treasure, Ilha Grande's riches know no bounds.
Buenos Aires is nicknamed La Reina del Plata, the Queen of the Plata River, in a far corner of South America. About a quarter of Argentina's 42 million residents live in the sprawling metropolis. Bienvenidos to the beloved capital of Argentina. Buenos Aires combines European architecture with a Latin passion for soccer, juicy cuts of meat, and of course, the tango. Buenos Aires was established as a gold and silver port in the 16th century and was named after the fair winds that blow in from the ocean. Thanks to its fine weather, wide avenues, classic hotels and restaurants, this South American city really is a breath of fresh air. Buenos Aires was shaped by European immigrants, and you can see why it is nicknamed the Paris of South America. The Spanish colonizers brought their trading skills to Argentina, making it one of the richest countries in the world. Since then, the fortunes have faded, but its splendor remains. Buenos Aires is now one of the world's cheapest capitals. The melancholy that comes with the city's fading riches resonates in the sweeping lament of the tango music. Sit down for an alfresco lunch in the harbor of La Boca, where this famous dance originates. The many eccentricities of this former immigrant ghetto are preserved at El Caminito, the country's most famous walkway. While in the harbor, also tour La Bombonera Stadium, where soccer legend Diego Maradona began his career. The city's other neighborhoods are so diverse that the Argentinians will likely all point you somewhere else if you ask them what to see next. Some will send you straight to San Telmo to score souvenirs in the patio shops of rustic colonial buildings. Browse the historic neighborhood's artisan markets for collectibles and antiques, and listen to live music. Others will recommend the redeveloped Puerto Madero. Modern parks and contemporary architecture complement the preserved remnants of the port's glory days. Everyone agrees that you can't miss the Plaza de Mayo. The balcony of the Casa Rosada, the presidential palace, evokes memories of the scene in the musical Evita featuring a waving Eva Perón. learn all about the country's legendary First Lady in the Evita Museum in the Palermo neighborhood. Her life story reads like a fairy tale, a poor actress from the country who married the president and became the heroine of the working class. Upon hearing the news of her death in 1952, hundreds of thousands of admirers gathered on Plaza de Mayo. The diva's tomb is the most photographed grave in Argentina, though the resident cats of La Recoleta Cemetery do their best to steal the show. Take a small detour to Malba in Palermo. This stylish Latin American art museum provides a glimpse of the past and a warped view of 20th century designs. To get back to the city center, follow Avenida 9 de Julio, the world's widest avenue. Test the acoustics of the impressive Teatro Colón. Afterwards, line up for a tango show or drinks in nearby Café Tortoni, which has been a local icon for more than 150 years. This grand café is close to El Cabildo, the Spanish colonial old town hall. Its central bell tower looks out over the Metropolitan Cathedral, also on Plaza de Mayo. Visit the tomb of General José de San Martín. The Liberator's statue decorates Plaza San Martín in the Retiro neighborhood to the north. While here, pause at the somber Falklands War Memorial before touring the awe-inspiring National Congress building. End your day with an evening stroll in Puerto Madero. Dinner is served late at night, and in this rhythmic city, you can stay out to dance until the sun comes up. It's hard not to fall in love with the jewel in the crown of Argentina. All you have to do is look at Buenos Aires to know that every word about this city is true.
Los Cabos is situated just a 2-hour flight from Los Angeles, at the southernmost tip of Mexico's Baja California Peninsula. The region is made up of 2 towns, Cabo San Lucas and San José del Cabo. A region of great natural mystery, Los Cabos lines the coast where the Sea of Cortez converges with the deep blue Pacific. It's a place where desert dust mingles with briny breezes to create a special kind of magic which lures travelers with year-round sunshine, cool waters, and captivating views. Start your journey in the east at San José del Cabo. Slow down in this colorful colonial town and let the sizzling aromas of Cabo street food and the soothing rhythms of the Spanish language wash over you as you drift among flag-adorned laneways. Like a piñata, the town bursts with street art and galleries, and the creative flair of this community shines bright in every park, alley, and restaurant. Wander down to the sparkling sea to discover why so many travelers make the pilgrimage to Los Cabos. head to Hotelera Beach, where shady cabanas and relaxing beach bars await. Explore Wirikuta Garden and admire some of the extraordinary desert plants that thrive in this sun-baked part of the world. From time to time, vibrant festivals keep this mystical garden alight as the sun sets, and celebrations often continue into the early hours. Buckle up for the 30-minute drive between the two towns. The stretch of coastline which connects Los Cabos has become known as the Tourist Corridor, famed for its beachfront resorts and secluded coves. Stop by Palmilla Beach along the way and let the colors of the rising sun refresh your soul. Whether you're lounging on the shore or paddling on the water, the moods of the early morning will lift your spirit. Follow the salty breezes further west to beaches like Chileno and Santa Maria. Whichever shoreline you choose along the tourist corridor, you'll be rewarded with cleansing waters, a soothing reprieve from the scorching desert sun. When you arrive in Cabo San Lucas, you'll quickly notice the difference between the two towns. While San Jose del Cabo is a peaceful haven, Cabo San Lucas is like a wild younger sister. A party destination rivaling Cancun, this town is a magnet for pleasure seekers during spring break. But Cabo San Lucas is more than just the party capital of Baja. It is also bursting with great food, exciting activities, and even more gorgeous coastlines. One of the most famous is Médano Beach. Less tranquil than the other beaches of Cabo, this stretch of sand is where all the action happens. Take to the waters on a jet ski, kayak, or stand-up paddleboard. Or just sip on a cocktail and bargain with enthusiastic vendors. As dusk sets in, beach parties light up the sands and spill out into the streets. The spirit of the night is alive in this town, with bars and clubs at every turn. All there is to do now is let the good times roll. When you find the strength to crawl out of bed in the morning, a hearty Cabo breakfast is all you'll need to freshen up. And an adrenaline rush can't hurt either. Kick up a cloud of dust as your ATV zips among the sand dunes at Migriño Beach, just a 30-minute drive north of town. If you're still feeling a little fragile, don't worry. There are options here for slowpokes too. Back in town, set sail to the southernmost point of Baja, a jagged headland known as Land's End. Pull on a face mask and explore a dreamy undersea realm at Lover's Beach. Wander through the rocky gorge to Divorce Beach, which is lashed by the tempestuous Pacific. And gaze up in wonder at a monument 30 million years in the making, El Arco, the symbol of Cabo. When nighttime draws near, book a table at a clifftop restaurant across the bay, where you'll be dining on the best views in Baja. As the sun sets, watch the shades of twilight gently fade till only the golden lights of Cabo San Lucas illuminate the sea. From the geological artistry of the desert and the seas, to the carefree spirit in every cafe, bar, and restaurant, this vacation destination is worlds away from everyday life. A visit to Los Cabos is like a journey to the end of the earth, to a place where magic and fun truly begin.
Before you set out exploring the mysterious mountain city of Machu Picchu, the floating villages of Lake Titicaca, and the tropical treasures of the Amazon jungle, discover the striking contrasts of Peru's coastal capital, Lima. Ancient and modern, rich and poor, fascinating and entertaining, practical and elegant. Lima is a city of contrasts. Almost a third of all Peruvians call this sprawling metropolis home, and they live in everything from modern high-rise condos to humble hilltop shacks. The painted facades burst with color in summer, but this image is paled by the fog that rises from the Pacific Ocean in winter. In this ever-changing city, you can find a new surprise at every turn. All you have to do is prepare your senses. Along the boulevards of central Lima, you'll be immersed in the sounds of chaotic traffic, while quiet benches await in coastal parks. Everywhere you go in Lima, you can feel the hot desert sun warm your skin, and at the same time, taste the salty sea air. To experience the bohemian side of Lima, follow the Bajada de los Baños, a walkway that runs from the coast through the quaint Barranco district. Stroll over the Bridge of Sighs, a legendary place of forbidden romance between a wealthy girl and a handsome street sweeper. Rich or poor, all Peruvians find common ground in the city's many public parks. El Malecón, a continuous stretch of paths and flower beds, allows you to explore the coastal cliffs of the Miraflores district on foot. It's in modern neighborhoods like this that you almost forget that Lima was built on the ruined pyramids and temples of ancient civilizations. Yet in its heart, you can retrace the steps of the Lima people in Huaca Pugliana, a place of ceremony and sacrifice from around 1,500 years ago. Indigenous Peruvians still observe the rituals and beliefs of their forefathers, despite being devout Catholics today. This religion was introduced to them by Spanish conquistadors, along with the Castilian language and Baroque architecture. To see fine examples of their colonial legacy, visit the Plaza de Armas, which is also known as the Plaza Mayor. It was here that the Spanish explorer Francisco Pizarro founded Lima in the 16th century. His quest to make the City of the Kings the capital of the New World started with the construction of the Lima Cathedral. Inside, look for Pizarro's tomb, early religious artworks, and the gold-plated altar. Pizarro lived and worked in the government palace across the street, which is still the official seat of government today. Take a horse and carriage tour from the plaza, a romantic way of exploring Lima's UNESCO-protected historic center with its typical colonial balconies. Peru gained independence in 1821, but the Spanish influence has never been erased. Take a peek inside inner-city museums and libraries to find stately rooms, soaring glass ceilings, and colorful tiled courtyards. Another highlight is the 18th century Museo Larco, which stands on the ruins of a 7th century pyramid. The colonial mansion in the Pueblo Libre district houses an impressive collection of ceramics, artworks, and golden jewelry from pre-Columbian times. The exhibits show the history of ancient Peru through arts and crafts. After lunch on the patio, cross the garden to the Sala Erótica to see the museum's most talked about pieces. Nearby Parque de las Leyendas, which is Lima's zoo, introduces the wild animals of Peru's remote Amazon jungle to all who can't travel there themselves. Another popular family attraction is Parque de Exposición in the city center, where kids and adults alike love splashing around in the water fountains. As the day turns into night, the park's magical light show is a reminder that anything is possible in Lima. Don't forget, Lima is the perfect stepping stone to the many natural, cultural, and historic treasures that Peru is so famous for. Take your pick from coastal deserts, lush rainforests, fertile altiplanos, and snow-capped mountains to see the many faces of Peru.
Home is where I live near my friends.
Home is where I can get to work on just one bus.
Home is where I can afford the rent and the birthday presents.
Home is where the kids can play outside.
Home is a dinner table and a family around it.
Home is a place that's just the way I left it.
Home is where we grow up.
Home is where our futures start. But for many, home is more than hard work alone can achieve. It's hard to dream if you don't know where you'll lay your head at night. So who's to say who gets to dream?
It's only 93 miles from Florida and just 13 from the Bahamas. But like the smoke that coils from its legendary cigars, the Republic of Cuba exists in the time and space all its own. Blending the traditions of Spain, Africa, and its native peoples, and lit by the fires of independence and revolution, the aromas, textures, and flavors of this Caribbean nation are like no other. Despite its size, Cuba has punched well above its weight. For centuries, its vast plantations satisfied a global appetite for sugar and thirst for the smoothest rums. In 1962, it played center stage in a nuclear standoff, which made the planet hold its breath for 13 days. And through it all, its infectious rhythms taught the world how to move its hips. Few cities can stir the imagination like Cuba's capital, Havana, a city preserved by forts and citadels, a 5-mile seawall, and an imposed embargo which held back the excesses of the 20th century for over 50 years. Havana's symbol is La Giradilla, dedicated to the city's first female governor, who scanned the horizon each day for her husband's return from the sea. 400 years later, she continues to wait high above the Castillo de la Real Fuerza, the city's original fort. While her husband never returned from his explorations, today she watches as millions of travelers come to explore her city. The fort overlooks Plaza de Armas, the birthplace and heart of Old Havana. Step into the cool colonial elegance of the Palace of the Captains General. Once home of governors, today the home of the Museum of the City of Havana. Browse the vintage books and posters in Plaza de Armas. Take the short walk to the Plaza de la Catedral, where fortunes are told and salsa spills from beneath the arches. Made from blocks of coral cut from the ocean floor, the Cathedral of St. Christopher is a Cuban Baroque masterpiece that has been called music set in stone. For 100 years was also the resting place of Columbus, who claimed the fertile lands for Spain in 1492. Another of the old town squares is Plaza de San Francisco, which has changed little since the days when the crews of passing galleons filled their barrels at the Fountain of the Lions. A more recent addition to the square is La Conversación, a statue that reminds us to keep the need for dialogue in contemporary society. Cubans, however, need little reminding of the importance of such simple pleasures. In a world where our heads are increasingly bowed to the smartphone, this is a city where people still walk with their heads held high. There's something truly liberating walking these advertisement and franchise-free streets where you can be open to millions of unguarded moments, like the curbside battles of wits, the characters, the melancholy of peeling paint, and the promise of a new coat. One place that will never see a paintbrush is La Bodeguita del Medio. Enjoy a mojito and add your name to the thousands of others which adorn every surface of this iconic bar. Getting around the city is easy. Simply walk, catch a bus, or cruise in style. Havana is home to thousands of classic autos from a golden age, which, just like the city, only becomes more alluring with each passing year. Head west, and you'll soon see the majestic dome, El Capitolio, rise over central Havana. The streets here are lined with some of Havana's finest architectural treasures, such as the Great Theater of Havana and the National Museum of Fine Arts. Just a little further to the west, discover the Vidado District, a mix of fabulous 1950s modernist buildings and neoclassical mansions patiently awaiting restoration. Explore the markets, then join ice cream-loving locals at Coppelia, Havana's futuristic temple to the multi-scoop. The Vidado is also home to the University of Havana, a hotbed of inquiry and dissent for almost 300 years. And the iconic National Hotel, where the likes of Winston Churchill, Rita Hayworth, and Leonardo DiCaprio have spent many a Cuban night. While the streets of Havana give the city its pulse, it's on the Malecón where you'll find its soul. Extending for miles along Havana's northern shores, this is where the city comes to meet, romance, and dream, and perhaps catch a little dinner. At the Malecón's eastern end, look out across the mouth of the Havana harbor, from Fort San Salvador to its big brother, Morro Castle. For centuries, these two guardians were linked by a giant chain, which could be pulled tight to keep marauding ships at bay. While you're near the Malecón's eastern end, visit the Museum of the Revolution, housed in the former presidential palace of deposed dictator Batista. The museum is a dedication to those who took part in the long march to a free Cuban homeland. You'll find tributes to Cuba's political heroes all over Havana. but there is none greater than the Plaza de la Revolución, where more than 1 million Cubans can gather at a time. Towering over the square is the memorial to José Martí, the poet, writer, and lightning rod for Cuban independence. Pay your respects to Cubans, great and small, at Colón Cemetery, a city within a city containing over 500 mausoleums. From generals to chess champions to the poor, I walk through these 57 hectares. It's a walk through Cuban history. Another city within this city is Fusterlandia, where for more than 30 years, the wild imagination of artist José Fuster has exploded from the confines of his studio and into the neighborhood streets, walls, and rooftops of Jaimanitas. Havana has long been a magnet for creative minds. On Havana's outskirts, high on a shady hilltop, sits the former Cuban residence of Ernest Hemingway. Peer into the rooms where the Nobel laureate lived for 20 years, writing classics such as The Old Man and the Sea. The home was a gift to the people of Cuba and remains much as it was the day Hemingway left his beloved island forever in 1960. When the sun gets low and the city takes on its beckoning glow, why not head back downtown and order a daiquiri at El Floridita, just as El Papa did after a long day at the typewriter. Then let Havana's magical rhythms carry you into the night. Havana's lure can be hard to resist, but Cuba offers so much more beyond the seductive lights of its capital. In Cuba, a long sandy beach and a cool breeze is never far away. Just 12 miles from Havana's downtown, the eastern beaches unroll towards the town of Matanzas, the birthplace of the rumba, and Cardenas, where in 1850 the Cuban flag flew for the very first time. From here, follow the scent of fresh lime, rum, and suntan lotion north to one of Latin America's premier resorts, Varadero. This long sandy peninsula is famed for its natural attractions as well as its resorts. Be sure to take a walk in the Avariacacos Ecological Reserve and experience the subterranean world of the Cueva de Ambrosio. Then cool off in the pure, crystal waters of nearby Cueva Saturno. From a city forged by revolution to one built on sugar, welcome to Trinidad. In the early 1800s, this was the sugar capital of the world. Here, plantation owners poured vast fortunes into plazas, churches, and Spanish colonial mansions filled with the best furnishings money could buy. Just a few miles from Trinidad, climb Manaca Ixnaga Tower for views across the Valle de los Ingenios. Here, for as far as the eye can see, thousands of workers once cut sugarcane, while more than 50 mills squeezed out its sweet liquid gold. Trinidad is surrounded by other riches too. Relax on southern Cuba's finest stretch of sand, Playa Ancon. Then follow the rural back roads that lead to the cool heights of the Sierra de Escambre. In Cienfuegos, the mood changes from Spanish to something a little more Parisian. This is the only Cuban city founded by the French, and it shows. There is an unmistakable elegance here in the spacious avenues around José Martí Park, to the theater where Caruso once brought opera lovers to tears. You'll find it amid the lavish dining room and rooftop terrace of the Palacio de Valle, and in the seaside homes of Punta Gorda. And when it's time to experience nature's elegance, you'll find plenty nearby in the bird life of Laguna Guanaroca. and in the afternoon light of Rancho Luna Beach. After exploring Cienfuegos, why not just keep going? Because there's so much more to discover in this country, which opens to the world more each day. Sometimes it's hard to know whether Cuba is awakening to the world or if the world is awakening to Cuba. Whatever your politics, it's easy to admire this island nation that has proudly gone its own way. Cuba may still have one foot firmly in the past, but as the world tumbles forward into tomorrow, we can be thankful for the many things it has not let go.